More than 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, while only 12% of Americans have at least $100,000 saved up. In this video, I will share with you 3 easy to follow methods that can take you from the 60% to the 12% in the span of just a few years. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Andrew and I'm a certified public accountant and former financial analyst and consultant. And on this channel, we explore data-driven strategies to help us achieve financial independence. Now, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, this means that the amount of money you make equals the amount of money you spend. In business terms, this means that your net inflows equals your net outflows. Now to start, you first want to determine how quickly you want to save your first $100,000. Is it in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? It's important to set goals that are time bound, but regardless, any of the 3 methods in this video can work for you, as long as you stay consistent. If you want to save $100,000 in 1 year, you need to save approximately $274 each day. If you want to save $100,000 in 3 years, you only need to save $92 each day. And if you want to save $100,000 in 5 years, all you need to do is save $55 each day. Now, for purposes of this video, we will assume the goal is to save $100,000 in 5 years. However, if you want to follow along with your own goals, you can adjust the figures presented in the end of this video accordingly. With that being said, let's get into the first method, which I call the Spartan Method. The Spartan Method focuses on self-discipline by solely focusing on lowering your current expenses. So how can you actually lower your spending by $55 a day? Well, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, the truth of the matter is that you have to live more frugal, at least temporarily. Living expenses come down to 2 main things: your needs and your wants. The first area you should focus cutting down on are actually your needs, with the 3 biggest components made up of housing, food, and transportation. As these areas make up on average between 50 to 70% of your income, reduction in these categories can have a much larger impact than any other spending categories. So let's first look at housing. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you ideally want your housing to cost you around 20% of your monthly gross income, as this is considered thrifty. So if you're making $60,000 a year, which equates to $5,000 a month, you ideally want your rent not to go over $1,000. Now, I understand in today's economy, this probably may not be realistic, especially if you live in a higher cost of living area, but you should at the very least try to reduce your housing costs as much as possible. If you're just out of college, this may mean living with your parents for a period of time, if that's possible, as your biggest spending bucket would essentially go down to 0. For everyone else, this can be done by living with roommates instead of living alone, moving to a cheaper neighborhood, or simply moving to a smaller unit. Next, let's look at food. And by food, I mean groceries, not dining out. I am all for consuming a healthy, balanced diet, and so I am definitely not recommending buying cheaper, unhealthy groceries in order to cut down on costs. Instead, I would advise the following. First, create your grocery list prior to leaving your home and only buy items that are on the grocery list. This will eliminate your tendency to buy food you didn't intend to buy just because they're on sale. Second, don't go grocery shopping on an empty stomach. If you're hungry, again, you will have a tendency to buy items that are not on your grocery list just because they are appetizing in that moment in time. Let's now move on to transportation. The first thing is, if you don't need a car, to get rid of it. Car expenses add up quickly once you start to account for fuel, auto insurance, parking depending on where you live, and maintenance in addition to the monthly car payment itself. A few great alternatives, especially if you live in a high population density area, include bikes, scooters, or public transportation. Now, if you need a car, opt to go with a used car rather than a brand new car that depreciates in value on average by 11% once you take it out of the parking lot. Once you have enough money in a few years, then by all means buy that brand new car you've always wanted. But that time is not now. Let's now move on to the wants category, which includes shopping, dining out, entertainment, travel, subscriptions, and more. I think it's important to enjoy life no matter your financial situation, but it is still crucial to follow a conscious spending plan. This means understanding what purchases truly make you happy and spending your usual amount on those categories, but then cutting back on other categories that aren't as important to you. So if buying coffee helps you be more productive, feel more energized, and is something you look forward to every morning, then by all means keep that in your budget. But then maybe you can cut back on shopping, as that category has been more spending by habit rather than true gratification. The key is to find the spending areas that you can actually live without and removing those spending patterns. Now let's move on to the second method, which I call the Midas method. This method focuses on generating more income or net inflows. So how can you actually increase the amount of money you earn by $55 each day? The first is to negotiate a raise or promotion at your current job. Now, getting a raise or promotion requires more than simply working hard or being a top performer. Gorik Ng, a career advisor at Harvard and a Wall Street Journal best-selling author of The Unspoken Rules, highlights successfully navigating the hidden expectations of your role in order to get promoted. This includes building strong relationships, solving problems rather than just identifying them, and being impactful rather than just useful. This requires effective planning, communication, proactiveness, and diligence. Now, if getting a raise or promotion is out of the equation, the second way to increase your income is looking for a higher paying job. Studies show that workers who change jobs see a 9.7% bump in their real wages, which accounts for inflation, while those who remained at the same job actually saw their earnings fall by 1.7%. After accounting for inflation. During the job hiring process, you'll have more leverage to negotiate your salary than at any other time, and so make sure to capitalize on it if you do end up switching jobs. Now, the third way to increase your wages is to start a side hustle. Everyone has skills that other people would pay for, whether you realize it or not, such as using your photography skills to take graduation photos, doing online freelance work as a video editor, tutoring math to high school students, to selling creative work on Etsy. Even if you don't think you have a specialized skills, you can still perform other services like dog walking, window cleaning, Uber/Lyft driving, and lawn mowing services to earn some extra cash. Now, the third method is a combination of the previous two methods, which I call the mule method. This means taking the best of both worlds, so increasing your wages while simultaneously also lowering your expenses. The benefit in this method is that neither will feel as much of a heavy lift because you're supplementing one with the other in order to work towards a combined net cash improvement of $55 a day. This can be a 50-50 split or any other split that seems most feasible to you. The good thing about this method is that you can also change the percentage split on a daily or monthly basis as long as the aggregate savings is again at least that $55 a day. The key is to create a plan and monitor your performance to ensure that you stay on track throughout the entire duration of your goal. So what can this actually look like? In terms of expenses for housing, saving just $150 a month on your rent or mortgage can result in savings of $5 a day. Saving $120 a month on groceries adds another $4 a day in savings. Switching to a used car can lower your total car expenses by at least $180 a month, saving you an additional $6 a day. Cutting down on shopping by $120 a month results in another $4 a day. Dining out 2 times a month instead of 10 times a month can result in savings of $180 a month, which equates to another $6 a day. And switching from your $150 luxury gym membership to your local $30 gym membership can save you another $4 a day. And that right there is $29 saved each day. And if any of these costs are essential for your happiness, then no worries. You can switch it out for subscriptions, entertainment, alcohol, coffee, or whatever other spending categories that are not as important to you. Looking at the income side of things, getting a net pay raise of $5,000 results in additional income of $13 a day. And starting a dog walking side business that generates another $5,000 a year results in another $13 a day in additional income. And just like that, you have saved a total of $55 each day. Although saving your first $100,000 can seem intimidating at first, breaking it down into any of the 3 methods in this video can and will work for you. And I know this because it worked for me. I was able to save my first $100,000 by the age of 24 by cutting down on costs that I knew I could live without and diversifying my income by working as a consultant, reselling clothes, starting a YouTube channel, and investing my savings. With that being said, if you want to know what a day in the life of a consultant is like, be sure to check out this video. And if you want to see more finance and lifestyle videos in the future, be sure to subscribe as I make content like this every week. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.